Hello everybody, Christian from Treasure Town here, and today we're going to be discussing something that I find is often a misconception that means that silver is worth a lot less than it potentially could be, and this misconception is important to be aware of so that you don't end up in jail like some of the people that I'm going to discuss did end up in jail due to their actions in how they used silver and gold, both silver like this or in like the technically legal tender form. We'll be discussing everything that you might want to know about this misconception in this video. So what we are going to be discussing today is the status of silver as something that you can pay people with. I think that it's often a misconception that, something I always thought, especially when I was 12, 13, 14, hadn't really done the research or read the articles, but it's not legal to pay people in silver coins, as a contractor. And I think that it's a really interesting point that does sort of bring into question the debasement of our monetary system, which is not something that I discuss too much. I don't love hyping it up like, hey, silver is the key to inflation. However, I think it's quite interesting, and most of my personal silver stack is in a bank, and it's in 90% silver U.S. coins. I don't have any of them on me today, but I do have some silver eagles, and this right here, it's 1 ounce of fine silver, but it's also $1, so I could go and spend this, and that's exactly what some employers figured that they would do, and instead of paying their employees in U.S. cash, say a $100 bill, maybe instead they would pay them with 4 American silver eagles, and then the employees would view that and sort of for their tax purposes would take that as 4 U.S. dollars, which they would much less likely, go over the limit today. It's like, I think 12,000 or something like that, or even just the contractor limit of $600 before you have to start paying somebody on the books. They were just being paid in like U.S. silver, and it was also being applied to gold coins. So like a $50 more modern U.S. gold eagle, or a $20 pre-33 gold piece that's about 98.6% of an ounce of gold. They would say, all right, I've been paid $20, when in reality the, say, gold value of what they were being given was more in the range of like $1,800. So, maybe you're thinking, hey, I should use this. This would be super useful to be, just transacting in 5 ounces of silver. Well, unfortunately, with the tax laws as they are, and if you're going to follow them, and the fact is these people ended up going to jail, in some cases, I think, for a few years, in others for decades. I mean, it's a very serious problem that the government needed. They felt the need that they had to arrest these people because it was like tax fraud. You can't view this as something that can be paid out to employees in lieu of cash and then have the tax implications of that. At the same time, it makes you wonder, these coins are now modern, so they're $1, but they were never released for $1 in face value. It's still interesting that they're made legal tender, however. It feels like it would be open to exploitation. All that 90% silver, the junk constitutional silver, whatever you're going to call it, was minted at that point to be used and transacted with. And now it's like 20 times more valuable as the silver content versus the dollar that it used to potentially represent. And it's interesting that there is force and like the law behind it that protects these types of materials as needed to be taxed at the fair value, as opposed to the legal tender dollar value that the coin represents and was minted with. So I think it's interesting. In my opinion, I would probably view it as time to demonetize those types of coins and materials, because if you're not going to demonetize them, then they should be legal tender and they should be allowed to be transacted with. I think silver is a little bit of a different case, but it does, if you're going to, say, buy a house and it's a $200,000 house and you're paying all cash, if you pay that person $180,000 and then $20,000 of silver or gold, that should be reported. And I think that that's something that, you don't want to be caught up in. And furthermore, I'd be really interested to see what happens if it became legal tender and it was allowed. The price of this sort of material would probably skyrocket, just because it would be so useful and a real way to get around the taxation. But I just think I'm sort of rambling here, but it's really interesting. That's when it shows that the dollar is really devalued, when the value of the silver or the value of the gold that is technically legal is going to be enforced by the government at gunpoint. I believe in one case somebody was paying their employees mostly in gold, but they were like a SWAT team showed up and held them at gunpoint and made sure that they were paying their taxes instead of trying to transact with silver and gold and other precious metals. So it is a bit of a weakness that these precious metals, it's not like, they're out of the system technically in the sense that they're physical, at least not yet. There's no like NFTs linking them to the cloud. The only person that knows that they have it is, whoever is in possession. But you can't use it to be, it's not like contactless money. It's similar to cash. It's totally illegal to be doing large transactions just trading around silver, and you could go to jail. So I'd recommend that you don't do that unless you're comfortable with the risk of going to jail and going against what the law says we're able to do. Whether the laws should be, enforcing this sort of thing is a different question. I think, if I'm going to take the government's side for a moment, well, obviously they sort of have to, or else, nobody would be using cash. Everybody would just pour all their money into things like physical gold and silver and Bitcoin and try to trade off the major exchange or, trade openly. But the thing is, it would sort of exclude something like the silver and then sort of focus more on like the legal tender type coins and material. And I would be really interested to see the discrepancy. Say silver's 25 right now and gold's 2,000. Would something like this, let's see, where's 1 ounce? I don't even know if I have a 1 ounce. All right. Well, this too should be $50. Maybe it would drop to 30 because nobody would view it as having utility. While something like this, that's $1. Maybe that would shoot up to 200 because of the ability to have it be $1 and transact it and hide money in. So I don't know. What do you think? Not really too much of a point outside of that. It does draw attention, in my opinion. Again, coming from somebody who doesn't really think like silver is the answer. It's because of how the government works. There's no free coining of silver for a while. Go back. This is what happened with a lot of the original silver dollars. You could bring your silver and get it coined. I could take this 5 ounces and get, I think it's like 0.77 ounces of silver is in a Morgan dollar. You could trade that, and then the mint would give you whatever, 6 or 7 Morgan dollars, and that's just not the case anymore. Silver is like totally removed from the currency, and so it's just a very interesting time where the utility as money of this sort of metal is gone. So it also makes me curious, if there's never going to be the legality, and it's going to be the store of value, but it's not really allowed to be used as an official store of value in more major transactions. Well, maybe the value in silver really isn't quite there anymore. I don't know. Just some things that I think about, and I wonder what all of your opinions are regarding this matter. Would you legalize silver, or would there be too many problems and fraud that would come out of it? Or maybe it would be sort of a victory for freedom. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. I've also got Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so you can follow me there. TreasuretownYT.com is the main channel website. Definitely give that a visit. I've got a lot of information about me up there and the channel. CoinGrabBag.com as well currently redirects there, but it's some good opportunities for very fair grab bags, both made by me and other sellers. A lot of different options, so that's a good way to support. There's also treasuretowncoins.com. In the future, my coin dealing operation will be done out of that website. Coinmeltprice.com for updates on the melt prices of your coins, both US and world. A lot of resources in that website. And then coinsmetalscards.com, being developed right now as a marketplace and news source for coins, metals, cards, and collectibles in general. So I'll see you on my future videos. Looking forward to seeing you there, and hope you have a good day.